It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go.
It's not Christmas. It's not Christmas yet in Lion One.
Oh. Hey, what's this new music?
I
like
don't know.
this. All right, let's get jiggy with it. Na 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 na.
Do you think he's got in the Christmas spirit a bit too much?
I'm really surprised.
No, not really.
That he's getting in the Christmas spirit.
Wouldn't
think the Enlightened One was into that sort of thing, right?
No, he's a bit surprising, that one, to be honest.
I thought he would be more of a Scrooge sort of guy.
It probably is. We just don't know it yet.
Well, anyways, I am Canada Dry. I am the patron saint of professional wrestling. I'm that, what is it, bubbly son of a bitch? I'm that normal son of a bitch? I don't know. Anyways, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself.
I am, of course, the Magician. This is the only paranormal show made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans.
Love it. So what do we got on the show today? Obviously, we didn't do the show on Friday. We moved it to Monday because you were kind of sick.
I'm still very, very sick, but you know what? I'm here today. I'm still not 100%, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this. But yeah, on today's show, we've got the effing Galaxy news. We've got a personal story from you from the vault. Then we're going to take a little deep dive into the dream world.
The dream world. So that's interesting, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to get into that because you've had a dream where it came true. We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
I've had some weird things where they've come true, but I've also had some weird things. I'll get into that. And where the hell did I put my? There it is.
What you lost?
No, I have it here. This is what's in the vault. I'm not going to tell you what's paranormal about this, but there's something paranormal about Santa Claus.
Claus.
We'll get into that a little bit later.
Stay tuned for that because you do not want to miss it. That's at the vault.
And of course, we move to one of our favorite parts of the show. And we're big on.
Wow, I love that intro. Are we ready for takeoff?
I'm ready for takeoff. I feel like Superman today.
Dear. Right, so we've obviously got some stories from around the entire galaxy. So the first one is Sasha Banks is apparently heading to New Japan. I'm going to be honest, I was a bit surprised with this because I thought she was going back to WWE. So this is a bit of a news thing for me. Your thoughts?
So she copyrighted or trademarked her name, Mercedes Fernando. Is it Fernando?
Something like that. I'm not quite sure.
She trademarked that. And so it should be interesting because it doesn't seem like that's someplace she'd want to stay. Like I can see her just doing a couple one-off appearances, but I don't see that as something where she'd want to be there all the time. Could it be, and I'd like to know your thoughts on this, that she could be going to AEW?
Well, we obviously mentioned that she could be the mystery tag team partner for Saraya. That these two are obviously friends. There's no other rumors who Saraya's partner is going to be, but problem I've got is she going to cause a little bit of a stir backstage? We know her history.
Not only that, is she wants a boatload of money.
The thing is, has AEW got the money?
Well, they got the money, but you want to not waste it. You want to put it all on someone like Sasha Banks.
It is a name draw, though. Let's be honest.
Well, the other thing is you got one show, 2 shows a week for women,
Mm-hmm.
and you're spending all the money on Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Does it work? Maybe it doesn't work unless she's doing other things, right?
Yeah. Do you think she'll end up in AEW, or do you think it'll just be a New
I
Japan
think
type
it's
thing?
maybe a couple big show. Like if you're bringing her in for like a pay-per-view,
Mm-hmm.
you pay her a one-time fee, right?
Yep.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was a bit surprised. I thought she was heading back to WWE. So when it came about that she was obviously done with WWE, I'm like, oh, okay. So now what? But
Well, I think Triple H didn't do enough to take that bitter taste out of her mouth, right?
yeah, I think obviously the way she left, I mean, it says a lot. But then again, there's obviously Naomi. What's the situation with her? Is she going back?
That's another thing. Like, I think that the corporate mindset about these two haven't changed that much, or they would have been back already.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess we shall see in the next month. Can she automatically sign for New Japan? I don't know the ins and outs of this.
So I think her contract is over at the end of this year. I don't know if there's a freeze on the contract or all for like the walkout or whatever, but there's claims that she's totally free of WWE as of end of this year.
Right. Okay. So basically, what we're saying, guys, is watch this space. Sasha Banks is going to end up somewhere. We don't know where, but somewhere.
But she will be in New Japan against Kairi Sane, so that should be a good match.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's a draw.
Yeah, it is absolutely. I mean, one thing I like about New Japan is they're actually taking the women's division seriously because it wasn't popular. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I found that it was an odd thing for such a huge promotion like New Japan that they didn't have a women's division. I was like, what?
There you go. So hopefully over the next few years, this women's division will absolutely build up. So that's the end of that topic. And what's going on, Noob? He's obviously stopping by as always.
Oh, hey, Noob. How's it going?
There we go. There we go. Come on. Right. So next story is, and we spoke about this on the ROH pre-show about a certain someone replacing Mr. Eagle. Who is that person we might add? Nigel McGuinness. Now, I'd love to see this because I actually like this guy, but your thoughts?
So Nigel McGuinness, that's the rumored name to replace William Regal in the BCC. But an interview that was held on a podcast to Castagnoli, he didn't really sell it too much. So, but he's got to keep it mum's the word if this is happening, right?
Absolutely.
So he's like saying, "Oh, I think we can go on as our own. Nothing against him or whatever. I think he's great." But to call yourself the Blackpool Combat Club when you got 1 Swiss and 3 Americans, like.
So do you change the name or do you also disband like we mentioned on the pre-show?
Well, they won the world title and the ROH world title, and they won the ROH Pure title over the weekend. So I think changing the name makes sense.
Yeah.
Unless you bring in a Nigel. I don't even know if he's from Blackpool.
I know he's British, but I don't know exactly where he's from.
Well, you could fake it. I'm originally from there, right? You can just make something up.
Everybody's been doing it for
out of my childhood there, or something like that.
There you go. Everybody's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
You never know. So obviously with this, we'll go into our next little segue thing, which is something you wanted to discuss. The Claudio and Jericho finish at ROH. I will be honest, I've not seen the actual full show yet, but go ahead.
Okay. I've had a little bit of time to cool off on this.
Okay.
I was really upset after the match. To tap out to the swing is To me, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You don't tap out to the swing. It's just
It is a little bit silly now you think about it. I mean, obviously, I've seen the why people were kicking off. I've not seen the match, but I know obviously what people's basically unhappy about. And yeah, I think how can you tap out to that? To be honest,
I don't know if this is a Jericho booking. It doesn't make sense that Jericho would be, but you never know. Jericho's got a few duds in his book sometimes.
yeah. I mean, obviously when we did the pre-show, we were a bit surprised, going, "Who needs to win this more?" And we were tossing and turning. I did say Claudio. Well, I originally said Jericho, but obviously the Claudio did actually win because you guys twisted my arm, but messing with the mind.
Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is, and hopefully we'll see what's next for the JS. We'll see what's next for the BCC. We don't know.
Yeah.
I just think they need to get that behind them because I think that pay-per-view was a bit of a stinker. They had a few good matches, but
Yeah.
I didn't like the ending.
Yeah, apparently Roosh has been suspended as well for thingy.
What was Roosh suspended for?
Because apparently after the match, he obviously assaulted Blake and with chairs and stuff, and apparently he's been suspended for it because apparently
Is this a shoot or is this?
Well, that's the thing. The dirt sheets are saying it has been suspended, but a lot of fans are saying, "Is this a shoot? Who knows?"
Or is this a work, right?
Absolutely, but
So I guess we'll find out.
of course. But yeah, I've seen like I said, I've seen a few matches on the show. They're all right. I'm not going to say it's the best show, but it's still entertaining.
Yeah. What else we got?
Right. So NXT obviously now has some new tag team champions. Now, is it a tag team in NXT? No, not at all. It's the New Day. Now, I've got to be honest, when I obviously saw this, I'm like, why? That was the first thing I said is, why have you done this? But go ahead.
I don't know. This is a head scratch for me. It's like, is this just to get more people to watch?
Could be.
Because, they've got subscription model, right? They don't have a pay-per-view model.
No.
So I'm not sure. It doesn't make sense to me.
This, to me personally, feels like it's lazy booking. Like they don't know.
Well, who can we get for this tag match? Well, we don't really got anyone.
I mean, I've said,
you call in the New Day, damn it. That's good shit. That's how the New Day ended up challenging for the house.
yeah, but the thing is, I've always said this all the time that don't really give two about the tag division, but
it is what it is. I guess we'll see because are you going to see New Day on WWE TV with those NXT titles?
we shall see. I don't think so, but who knows? I mean, it's still under the WWE brand, but who knows?
Usually, when someone is in NXT that's in WWE, they kind of stay there for a bit to really help the brand, like Finn Balor did.
Yep. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm still scratching my head with that one, but we don't really know. There's going to be some booking what Triple H does, and you're like, really? That? But that's all that comes with WWE, right? Or any wrestling promotion. There's going to be stuff where you're like eyebrow raising.
Which brings me to The Rock.
There you go. That's why I did that. So, do you want to go ahead with the last story?
Okay, so apparently, The Rock isn't the original person planned for that name.
Okay.
So Ken Shamrock was supposed to be Ken The Rock Shamrock in WWE.
I'm going to be honest. Do you think that's got a good ring to it, though?
I don't think it does. You're going to get that name based off Shamrock, not off The Rock. So I think I think that's why he didn't really make a case for it, because it didn't quite sound as good as just The Rock. Now, if he's just Ken The Rock, I guess. But it is what
Yeah.
it is, I think, for the day.
But let's be honest, though. If looking at The Rock's character, would Ken Shamrock go with it, or would Dwayne go with it? I mean, I think we know the answer to that one.
Well, the thing about The Rock is he doesn't really need that name.
Do you reckon?
If he had some other name, he would still work.
Yeah,
it's his charisma and his moves, and it's just the way he talks. You know, The Rock helps, but he could have gone with something else and still got over.
Yeah, I mean, you've actually on point there. I mean, like you mentioned there, he's got the persona, he's got the look, he's got the mic skills.
Like if he was just known as Rocky, he could have still pulled it off.
Or Rocky Maivia.
Rocky says this, you know?
Rocky Maivia says this. Why don't you just shut the hell up? I mean,
all right. Is that it? Do we have anything else in our...
No, that wraps up the effing Galaxy news. So shall we head on to our next segment?
All right. So let's move on to one of our favorite segments on the show. It is called... It's called Bull or Truth.
With our sexy voice, Jeremy.
And we have Mr. X, Jeremy Isaacs. You know what he kind of reminds me of?
Go ahead.
The Cable Guy. He just, like the Jim Carrey and the Cable Guy.
Yes,
it kind of reminds me of him. I don't know why. Doesn't he get that vibe for you?
Yes, and you know the thing is now on the Saturday show, I'm going to say you actually look like a Cable Guy.
He's going to start being the Cable Guy. We're going to morph him into the Cable Guy. Anyways, here we go. Bull or Truth with Jeremy Isaacs.
Everybody, and welcome to another exciting, enthralling edition of Bull versus Truth. I'm Mr. Isaacs. This is the kidnapping ghost. In 1998, Joe relocated from California to Georgia to work as a manager at an auto body shop with his cousin. Soon after, Joe's brother followed him to the Peach State and rented a small house built in the late 1800s. It looked nice from the outside. It did not feel good from the inside, Joe said. Things were off from the moment he helped his brother move into the house. I walked into the house and went, oh man, the hair stood up on the back of my neck and I just felt ill at ease. Like, this place isn't cool at all, he said. Moments later, while carrying items into the bedroom, Joe says he heard whispering. A heated whispering. Almost an argument between two people that seemed to be hovering in the top of the ceiling area of the room, he added. Joe ran out of the room and asked his brother if he'd felt something off about the house too. His brother had picked up on the vibe, but after praying on it, his brother said he felt that things would be all right. As long as you're good, Joe said. I'm not good, but I'm going to help you. But I'm going home and I probably won't come back here. In the weeks that followed, there were more unusual occurrences, including a terrifying event in which Joe's 8-year-old nephew was taking a bath and sat up to find an elderly man in the tub with him. It took about 2 days to calm him down, and he never took baths after that, Joe said. After falling asleep on the couch one night, Joe's brother awoke to find an elderly man and woman seated on either side of him, arguing back and forth about whether or not they are going to allow the brother and his family to remain in the home. The kicker, however, was when Joe's brother asked to borrow his truck one afternoon, after receiving word that his 4-year-old daughter had been found wandering along a busy road by herself with her hand up in the air. Police and other agencies were called in to investigate, and when asked, the 4-year-old explained she'd just gone for a stroll with the old lady. What old lady? Joel's brother asked. The old lady that lives here, his daughter replied. She just wanted to go for a walk. So we went for a walk. The front door was too heavy for a 4-year-old, so everyone was perplexed about how she was able to leave the house. The old lady opened the door. Then we pet the dog for a little bit, then went for a walk, she explained. She was so genuine and honest at 4 years old that he couldn't call her a liar, Joe said. Shortly after, his brother moved out of the house and never went back. Joe still drives by the house nearly every day. It looks like a perfectly normal, acceptable house, except for what's inside. All right, gentlemen. Is this truth or is this bull?
Do you know, this guy's got so good at telling stories, I've got to be honest, and I'm actually torn with this one.
Do you remember when it was easy when George was telling the stories? We got it. It was easy because you know what? He wasn't good at lying, George.
No, but the thing is now is Jeremy's so good at storytelling. He gets us every time. I'm going to say...
Okay, you go ahead.
I think this is bull. I think it's bull. I think there's a certain little bits what doesn't add up to me.
What doesn't add up to you?
I think there's, I don't know, just a story where like the door and stuff. I know sometimes that is true, but I don't know. I'm just not buying it with this story.
Well, I'm going to go the exact opposite of you because I just love this story so much. So I'm going to go truth.
Let's find out.
And we're going to find out what the answer is.
Are we ready for the answer? This story is true. Joe actually told this story on a podcast known as Monsters Among Us. This has been Mr. Isaacs with your weekly Bull or Truth segment. Goodbye.
What is it with that still off?
Oh, he got you. He got you good.
Yeah. Can we just bring George back? Because at least I know when he's lying.
No, George is not coming back. Screw George. George, if you're watching, we love you.
Oh, dear. Yeah. He's really good at telling stories, but yeah, he's got me good and proper on that one.
All right. So now it's our next part of the show. What's it called?
The Vault.
It looks like it's time to open up the vault.
Do you know the combination? Right, so obviously this is another story.
I think that laugh at in the vault is the inspiration for Jeremy at the end of his Bull or Truth segment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to ask him about that actually on Saturday. But yeah, of course, this is the vault. Now, over the past few weeks, we've also been telling about personal stories to you. Now, you obviously told me about this one. This is another one, but go ahead.
All right, so we showed this at the beginning of the show. Looks innocent, right? Little Santa.
Yep.
So, Santa Claus, my coworker, he's really into Christmas, and so he collects all these decorations, and he likes to decorate the trees around our work. Yeah. And so this one quite didn't fit on the tree, so he's like, okay, we'll just leave this on the desk here. And we went out to do our rounds. We went out of the building, and when we came back, we locked the door. And when we came back, there was a hole in Santa on his foot, like a chunk was taken off. And you can see that.
Yep.
See the other side?
Mm-hmm.
So Santa Claus was upright like this when we left, and it was perfectly fine. And then when we got back, there was a chunk out of Santa, and he was sitting like this, and the hook was off of him as well. So my coworker's like, "What happened to Santa?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then we kind of thought about it, like, wait a second, that's weird. We had just left and we'd locked the door
Mm-hmm.
and we looked around for little pieces, but there was no pieces to be found. It's not inside. There wasn't anything on the ground. So whoever knocked this over, they also cleaned up after themselves and took the little pieces away.
That is weird. And there's no like bins are out with like the pieces in.
No, it's just a chunk of Santa disappeared
Mm-hmm.
over an hour and a half. And we also noticed we have a little sort of like not a nativity scene, but a Christmas sort of village we made.
Mm-hmm.
And there's little railroad tracks with a little train on it, and the train goes around the track, and we have some skaters in the middle. We got little town people, and the weird thing was when we came into work that day, all the people in the village were moved inside the track, inside the middle of the track.
So they're all like together in like a circle.
We're just all kind of in a big group instead of like arranged out like a city would be or whatever. There are
Mhm.
houses on the outside of the tracks and everything, but
Yep.
everything's kind of in the middle.
Okay.
And we thought that was really strange to go along with our someone who took a bite out of Santa.
Mm.
So that's our vault story of the week. What do you make of this?
It's really, really creepy. I mean, you obviously sent me the image, and even I'm like, what the hell is going off here? I mean, I have no cut words. I can't even explain what the hell's gone off there. But you've
Yes,
obviously sorry,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
I mentioned before that my work is haunted. We've had so many things that happened all the time there. Like I even
Mm.
tried to push me down the stairs and all that kind of bit. But yeah, that is the latest one. Santa took the hit on this one.
Poor Santa. Poor Santa.
Poor Santa Claus.
Oh dear, but how many stars
So-
have you actually got, if you don't mind me asking?
I've got a few. I got a few at my house. Got a few from work. And apparently they keep coming because this is a new one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Tune in next week. Something else could happen this week. I mean, hopefully nothing bad, but you know.
All right, so that's the vault. We'll move along to our main event story. It's story time with Canada Drive, baby.
Get ready for the magic.
I love it. Your voice is back in.
Get ready for the magic.
There you go. So are we ready to go into the dream world?
I'm ready for the dream world. How about you?
I've always born ready for the dream world.
You're ready for the dream world right now. You were yawning a bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep awake. I do apologize.
I used to have this cat, and he looked human sometimes because when he was sleeping, he'd be like this.
Oh dear.
It's like something a human would do.
Yeah.
So, have you ever had a dream that's come true?
I have, and it's actually a surprising one. So I'm going to try and keep this as PG as I can. But
Oh my, what kind of dream is this?
so back in secondary school, there was obviously this lasso in my school, and I always believed in my own head that she didn't like me. Do you know, I was a typical quiet kid and stuff like that. And then I remember going to obviously sleep, and then you're having a dream that this lass does actually like you and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, this can't break. But the dream constantly kept happening. It was the same dream that, you know, that this person actually likes you. So I thought, you know what, let's just go with it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? So I think it was like fourth time this dream actually happened. I actually spoke to this person, you know, just saying, look, just, you know, general stuff. And it turns out she actually did like me anyway, but I just so believed in my own head that she didn't. It's weird.
And so, did you end up like Giving her a smooch.
We ended up dating for a while, to be honest.
Oh, what grade was this?
Sorry, what?
What grade was this?
This was we call it year 9, which is like the third, so like before 15.
So this is like high school?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's a cool dream. So I've had dreams that come true, but they're always so dumb. Where it's like I walk into 7-Eleven and I see an ad for like a bubble gum. I'm like, oh, I dreamt about that last night. It's like, right, I'm dreaming about bubble gum. Come on. It's not helping things.
You
Or
can't
like
help it.
I see this ad on TV that it's brand new, but I saw it last night in my dream. But here's the one that you're gonna really get into. I had an ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
We were talking about getting married, and so we were getting pretty serious, and I was to the point where we'd wake up in the morning and I'd tell her what her dream was.
Okay.
And she was like in shock that I was telling her back her dreams. And I did this like 5 or 6 times. And every time I was correct. And she's like, how do you know this? And I'd be like, I don't know.
That's my question. How did you know that? Is it just like an inkling you had, or
It's one of those things where when you have it, when you can't explain why you know something.
Mm-hmm.
You just know it and you know it's true.
Yeah, I mean, 1 time's bad enough, but 6 times is like, holy shit.
Yeah, so I was able, and so she ended up cheating on me with some guy. And that night I had a dream that she was cheating on me. And I knew before that she had, and I told her, like, you cheated on me, didn't you? And she admitted to it. And it's just like one of those things where I think our souls and minds were entwined, and I think that's what happened.
Yeah, the thing I've always said to obviously friends as well is the mind's a powerful thing.
It is. So let's get right into our topic today. We're talking about dreams. Now, these are things that impacted the world.
Yeah, and there's some pretty big ones. I mean, I will be honest.
Yeah. So we're going to start out with our number 1. Now, this is a top 10 list. And we're going to start our number 1 is...
What the hell?
This is David Booth. And he foresaw in his dreams that the DC-10 would crash and hundreds of people would die. So I'll get right into the story on this. So it was May 2nd, 1979, and it was one of the worst days in American aviation history. It was the day when American Airlines Flight 191 crashed. It was minutes after takeoff at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. One of the engines came away from the wing, which resulted in significant damage to the wiring and hydraulic systems. The pilot had no control of the plane, and it crashed into a nearby trailer park. 272 people died. And for one man, it was an especially harrowing scene because he had predicted this had happened days before. But he just wasn't able to narrow it down. So David Booth was an office manager in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And for 10 nights in a row, he had a dream where he saw a plane veering off a runway before flipping over and bursting into flames. So he decided to tell the FAA about this, and he didn't expect to be taken seriously. But to his surprise, the FAA listened to what he had to say and concluded that it was either a DC-10 or a Boeing 727 plane. Booth also had let American Airlines know, and while the company and the FAA took what he said on board, there was nothing else they could do because there was no exact date or other details in his dreams. Booth had his last nightmare on the night of May 24th, but little did he know that the disaster was right around the corner. When the news broke about the crash, David was in front of the television watching. He was unable to believe his eyes that the dream that he had now become the biggest aviation disaster.
Wow. And do you know what really?
Go
Sorry,
ahead, but I'm not quite done.
Okay. Go ahead. Carry on.
So Booth was investigated several times during the following investigation. While he wasn't a suspect, the authorities were intrigued as to how he could have known what was about to happen. American Airlines may have listened to him, but it didn't stop the firm from cutting corners. The investigation revealed that the company was guilty of a short-term fix that caused the disaster in a bid to save the maintenance time. It later transpired that Booth wasn't the only person who had a premonition about the disaster. Actress Lindsay Wagner, who played the Bionic Woman, she was supposed to board Flight 191 on the 5th. And according to Wagner, she suddenly felt very ill while waiting to get on the plane. And the closer it got to getting on the plane, the iller she felt. So she decided to go home, and all of a sudden, she wasn't sick anymore. And she averted death.
Whoa. Okay, that was a really big twist.
So also, David Booth, he took a few interviews on this, but he blamed himself because he wasn't able to do anything. It's like, that's so hard because you're getting this knowledge, but you're handicapped at the same time.
Yeah, you're getting the knowledge, obviously, there's going to be a plane crash, but then you're not getting, like, the date, the time. You're only getting, like, so much information, and you can't really go with that. You need more information.
Yeah, so, like, he reported it, and they were kind of listening to him. The other thing about this is the DC-10 was never used ever again. It was taken out of circulation.
Is that after this actual crash as well?
Yes.
Whoa. So, yeah, you can't blame yourself in a way. I mean, yeah, he saw one thing, but unfortunately, he didn't have all the jigsaw pieces, as we call it.
Yeah, and that's what people told him. He's like, it's not your fault. Like, you were given this information, you did your best, and that's all you can do with what you have. You have to do your best. If he didn't do anything about it, I could see it weighing in on him. But he did his best with what he had.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's pretty interesting. That's one of the aviation's biggest tragedies you mentioned there.
Yes, it is, for sure.
Wow.
Do we want to get to number 2?
Right. So, I'll start with my story, and it's by a man called Carl Jung. And it's World War II. Now, this guy had
It's
two
World War
dreams. World War One. Sorry, I said two. I meant to say two dreams. Sorry, I got frazzled. Yeah. So this guy obviously had two dreams, but I'll read the first one. So in 1913, Carl Jung, a famous psychoanalyst and psychiatrist, and a dream analyst. So he's like 3 in 1 here. Dreamt that something terrible would happen to the world. He dreamt that a flood would cover the lands between the North Sea and the Alps. In the dream, he saw chunks of land, structure, and bodies drowning in yellow waves. He watched the whole sea turn into blood at this time. He felt that a catastrophe was happening. World War I started on July 28th, 1914. So it's like it's predicted a war. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of weird. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's hard to say from that first dream how that can be taken as war, though.
Yeah, but obviously, as you mentioned there, there's obviously a second part. So in June 1914, which is a year later, Carl obviously had a second dream that saw the happening of World War One. He dreamed that the frost and ice covered the land in the middle of the summer, and the Lorraine region was frozen and deserted. He watched as a wasteland surrounded him, and every living thing died in ice cold air. During this time, Carl Jung separated from his mentor Sigmund Freud. There's a big name for you. We are connected energetically, and it is possible that the change and new creative beginning he undertook manifested and destruction in a dream world. He could have he could have been getting experiencing both the energy of what was coming to his personal life.
Yeah, so that definitely could have been something else.
Yeah, it's not really much information with that one. I mean,
So there seemed to be a tragedy that was going on in his dreams.
and he's predicted it. It's like the World War was going around this time, so it's, it's not factual that it is actually the World War. I just think it's just too. I don't think this is like plausible, to be honest. I will be.
Yeah, so this could have been just his what he was feeling with his disconnection with Freud.
Yeah, but it just. I think this is more about timing. The fact that there was a World War going on at the exact same time.
Yes, but you never know. It could be because it seems like it made the history books. How many years later?
No idea. It does not say.
Well, like this is he had the dream in 1914, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We're still reading it. We're reading it. It's how many years later? So
there you go. But obviously, I had one in 1913 as well, so it's like a year apart.
all right, so let's get on to our next dream. So AJ Arthur and the Taylor Aberfan landslide. So this is a picture today of what the Aberfan landslide looks like. That's in Wales. Do you know about that?
I did not. I'm excited to learn about this one.
All right, so we got this. This made the list twice. That's how.
Yeah.
That's how interesting it is. So in 1966, J. Arthur Taylor from Stockstead dreamed he traveled to South Wales. In his dream, he came to across a town called Pontypridd, where he had been looking to buy a book. He was in front of a large machine with Aberfan written in white. He stared at the word for quite some time and then turned to see cold, inhabited houses. On October 21st, 1966, a flood of coal and waste exploded above the Welsh village of Aberfan, pouring first into a farmhouse where 3 people and their animals were smothered, and then the rest of the town.
Wow. Just that last statement, just sends shivers down my spine, I will be honest.
So, like, it pretty much destroyed the town of Aberfan.
Yeah, and you've just mentioned there, can you just put that image back up?
So this is now. How many years later?
Well, this was 1966. So you're still talking, what, 60, just under 60
Yeah, and you can still see the coal on the ground so many years later.
That is, and the fact it's still there is just really. That's really sent me shivers. I don't know why that one has.
Yeah, it's close to you, right? It's not too far to Wales, is it? How long did it get to get to Wales?
It's about a 4-hour drive.
Yeah. So
I think that's probably why, Joe, because it's so close.
Definitely.
Right. So next story.
The next story. Oh, do we have a picture for this? No, I don't think we have a picture.
Okay, that's fine. I will go ahead with the story. Yep.
So this is Mark Twain.
And this is Henry Clement's death. The night before his brother Henry's death, Mark dreamt that, seeing his corpse lying in a metal casket and wearing one of his suits. The dream surprised him as it felt so real that he had to take some time to convince himself it was only a dream. Have you ever actually had that where it's been a dream, but you've tried to convince yourself it's only a dream?
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, what was that? Is that you? Is that you?
That's my neighbor revving up his motorcycle. Can you hear that?
Yes, I can.
He wants to make sure it works.
It works. Just tell him it works.
You're good. You're good.
The next day, Mark and Henry were both set to embark together on a steamboat to the Pennsylvania. Mark fought with a crew member as he was transferred to another boat, leaving Henry on the Pennsylvania. That's obviously the Pennsylvania is the name of the boat, just so we're clear.
Yes.
The boat's boiler exploded and 250 passengers, including Henry, were killed. At the funeral parlor, Mark was shocked to find his dead brother in a metal casket in a suit, just like in his dream.
Wow. So, in his dream, he saw Mark in a
one of his suits.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just you can't write that. The fact that obviously the switch boats. Next thing you know, obviously 250 people sadly lost their life, him included, and then next day it's exactly it's really creepy.
That brings me to just kind of one that's not on the list here, is that several passengers of the Titanic also had dreams of this ship crashing.
Did they? I did not know that.
Some of the survivors.
Oh, okay.
One of the people who dreamt about it had a dream about a giant boat named the Titan that crashed.
Oh, okay. I need to look.
The Titanic.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
There you go.
So moving on to our next dream. It is Kathleen Middleton has a dream about the assassination of Robert Kennedy.
Now, this is obviously a famous assassination, so I'm excited to listen to this one.
So Kathleen Middleton was one of two people who submitted premonition dreams to the psychiatrist John Bark's psychic dream study at the Aberfan landslide. Okay, so this Aberfan landslide is part of this, right?
Yep.
On March 1968, she reported to the Premonition Bureau, where John Barker concluded about her precognition dreams of Robert Kennedy's death. Worried about Kennedy and anxious to get her point across, she called the Premonition Bureau 3 times on June 4th, 1968.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Kennedy was shot at midnight, June 5th, 1968.
How can somebody
She
predict?
phoned twice to let these people know, but like it's one of those things that's powerless.
Yeah.
There's nothing she could have done.
Thing is, though, if somebody rings up saying that so and so is going to be assassinated, would you take it seriously, or would you think, oh, it's a hoax call? Because I know some people would.
Well, even the number she's calling, shouldn't she be calling the FBI?
Yeah.
She's not calling the FBI. She's calling the Premonition Bureau.
I mean, obviously, the assassination, obviously one of the biggest, it's not controversies, but it's one of the biggest stories in history.
Absolutely. It's not JFK, but his brother.
Oh, okay. Is it? I thought it was actually his brother. I do apologize.
No, they had a couple deaths in their family. Like
This is educational. This is educational.
Yeah,
I love this.
All right, so go ahead with yours.
Now,
your number 6, Abraham Lincoln.
His own death. Now, I just want to ask you a question on this. Would that be the creepiest thing ever to know how he died?
Well, that's the thing. Could he have saved himself?
Well, let's get into the story then. Let's discuss it, shall we?
Yeah.
So, on the night of 1865, President Abraham Lincoln had a dream that he heard that someone was dead in the White House East Room. He asked a guard who was dead in the White House. The guard replied, an assassin killed the president. On April 11th, Abraham told Wardhall Laman, I hope I've said that right, about that dream, which frustrated him. 10 days after the dream, John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln while he was attending the theater. Somebody once said to me ages ago, "Is would you rather know how you died or when you died?"
I want to know when.
But that would creepy though.
Well, if you're when, you could just put yourself secure somewhere.
Yeah, I suppose you could.
I'm like,
But
that day, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to get water. I'm going to get medicine. I'm going to get the doctor standing by.
but yeah, this is probably one of the most scariest things ever. Is actually to predict your own death.
The other thing about Lincoln was he was big into what I guess it was like the dark arts.
Yes, he was.
They were into the weird projection and astral travel and all that stuff. So they spoke to spirits and stuff. So I wonder if he opened himself up to danger.
It possibly could. Could he have been haunted by something spiritual? We do not know.
All right, so we're going back to Aberfan landslide one more time, but this time we're hearing it from the perspective of another person who died. This is Earl May Jones, and she was 10 years old at the time. She dreamed that she had gone to school to find her school covered in black clouds. She told her mom about the dream and told her she was not afraid to die. She told her mom and she said she wasn't afraid to die. How creepy is that?
That's just something I really don't even want to think about. I mean, imagine a mother and your daughter saying that to you. Like, what the hell?
So like, my son's creeping me out, or my daughter's creeping me out. So on October 21st, 1966, the flood of coal waste that exploded first under the farmhouse poured over the school where 116 children, including Earl May Jones, were killed. A total of 144 people were killed during that landslide in Aberfan.
So the thing is, she's told her parents she's not afraid to die. For me personally, she's gone the whole wrong way about this. Why don't you not just tell somebody a bit higher up?
Who's she gonna tell? She's a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I think now you mention it that way, I was going to believe a 10-year-old.
Yeah, so her mom's like the only person, mom or dad's the only person she can tell.
Yeah. That's the thing. Who would you tell him that? Is that just really unavoidable, basically, that whole situation?
See, me, if I was in that situation and I really had that dream and I thought I was going to die, I'd be like, I'm not going to school. You can't make me. You cannot make me.
I'm feeling sick. I don't want to go to school today.
Well, the thing is how many days did she go to school thinking this could be the day?
Oh, I imagine it was plenty.
Right? It didn't happen right away. Hold on. Let me just look at that when the dream was. It was 3 days later.
What the hell? So it could have been any time. So this is more when you predict. It's like predicting the future type thing.
The thing about these dreams is it's not giving them much time.
No, and you don't know when.
This is interesting. It's almost like someone's teasing them.
Messing with the mind.
It's kind of like my friend's death.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hello, rat, saying his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's kind of like teasing the people when they're the ones dying. It's almost like, ah.
But as you mentioned there, I think it's probably one where this was just so unavoidable. I mean, it's tragic, but there's not much you can do on that one.
All right, let's move on to something a little happier.
Yes, absolutely. So this is a Harriet Tubman, and this is Harriet Tubman. Thank you very much. The Way to Freedom. Yep. Sorry, fucking hell. Harriet Tubman suffered a head injury that severely fractured her skull. That's a nice little way to start, by the way, isn't it?
I said it was happier, damn it.
As a result, she started having vivid dreams. She claimed that God showed her premonitions that helped keep her and many slaves safe as she guided them to freedom. With the help of the precognitive dreams, Harriet Tubman led over 300 enslaved people to freedom as an Underground Railroad conductor. That is
And
a
you know what? Do you know where they went?
no. Where did they go?
Canada.
Wow, that's
It's the Underground Railroad from the south of the United States all the way to Canada.
but 300 people. Do you know what I mean? Saved. It's nothing to. Do you know stiff about it? She's helped so many people there. Do you know what I mean? I mean that's a great story.
So, like, I don't know if God's using the bump on the head or what's going on. Maybe she had to bump her head for God to use it. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
So sometimes bad things lead to good things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's. Do you know? I like that. That's really happy. It's made me, smile that she saved so many people.
Yes, absolutely. And Harriet Tubman, she's famous. She's in a lot of books. You can read about her. If you don't know about Harriet Tubman, look her up. Of course, we're moving on to number 9, which is Lucrecia de Leon. Almost sounds like Chris Jericho, Lion de Leon. The Spanish Armada.
That Spanish Armada sounds like a Spanish ring announcer.
Spanish Armada sounds like a wrestler.
There you go.
Welcome, the Spanish Armada. At 12 years old, Lucrecia de Leon began to have precognitive dreams about the future Spain. A teenage girl in the 16th century, she had hundreds of precognitive dreams that exposed the personal and political issues of Philip II of Spain. The Spanish Inquisition arrested and tortured Lucrecia because the church somehow shamed her and her unorthodox spiritualism. In one of the dreams, she saw the English raiding the coastal town of Corunna after 2 weeks of rape, torture, and murder. Although she accurately dreamed about the coming dangers her country would face in 1588, the king was helpless to protect his people, and Lucrecia was killed as a result. So,
wow.
So she was getting messages in ways to help her people. But because she was a girl, they didn't want to receive it.
That's kind of sad. Do you know what I mean? The fact that nobody believed it, took her seriously simply because obviously she was a female.
Yeah, and she was kind of like pronounced as like a witch sort of thing because of this.
Yeah.
Like, not only do we not believe you, you're evil.
But the thing is, obviously, now, obviously, everything what's happened, then it's kind of backfired on them a little bit.
Oh, exactly. Like you kind of get your just desserts for what you got.
There you go. There you go. These are really, really. Do you know what I mean? We've got covering pretty much all bases here.
All right, so we got number 10 here, the last one.
Let's do this. This is. You're gonna have to help me out on the names here, please.
Niels Bohr.
Niels Bohr. If I said that right. In 1911, Niels Bohr, the father of quantum mechanics, was trying to understand the structure of the atom, but none of his configurations would fit. He went to sleep and had an inspirational dream in which he saw the atom's nucleus with electronic spinning around. When he woke up, he knew his vision was accurate, but still had to confirm the truth in his lab by conducting tests. Niels Bohr created his future by following the breakthrough he received in his slumber. So this guy obviously was a big believer in the atom thing, and obviously the dream is obviously, it's kind of like made him. He's had the dream, but he's obviously woke up and like fixed it in a way.
Yeah, that's interesting because it kind of. Do you know I had this happen to me?
Oh, okay.
But it was with a video game.
Always.
So there's this part of this video game where I couldn't get past this one area, and I was like, why can't I get past this area?
Do you know which game it was?
It was one of the Tomb Raider games.
Oh, always. It's got to be the Tomb Raider game, right?
Yeah. So I couldn't figure it out. I had a dream about it. And the next, I wake up, I turn on the system, power it up, and I was like, I tried the thing I dreamt about, and it worked.
Wow.
So it's kind of like what he did, but to a lower degree.
But yeah, I love that. This is really good because obviously, do you know what I mean? It's so much to take in. Obviously, you've had like people who's obviously helping slave labor. There's obviously natural disaster, but some people obviously blame themselves because they feel like they can't do no. But as we've obviously discovered, sometimes you don't get all the information, which just kind of sucks.
All right, so let's close this off. We're running low on time. Let's bring it to a close. Dream time is off. Now it's time for you made it just in time. This, of course, is knowledge is power. And this is part of the show where we give you sort of a moral lesson of what our show was about today and got to give a good message to you.
Mm. Can I go first, if you don't mind?
You can.
So, kids, right now, obviously, you may go to sleep. You may have dreams which you might think they're silly. You might think they're not serious enough. If you have a dream and you really question it to a point where you think something's bad's going to happen, no matter how stupid you think it is, no matter how funny you think it is, always share it with people and make sure they take it seriously because you never know. That dream could become reality.
Okay, so my knowledge of power moment is this. Children, come a little closer. Now, if you're eating before bed, so you have a big old sandwich, it's like pepperoni, it's got the meatballs in there, you got that big old sandwich. Now that's gonna mess with your dreams. You're gonna have some funky dreams with that sandwich. It's gonna mess with the chemicals in your body. So don't eat before you go to bed. Also, you're gonna get fat, so don't. And this has been our Knowledge is Power moment.
You jumped the gun a little bit there, didn't you?
That was.
And that's what you get when you click the wrong one.
Yes. Sometimes you get the wrong one in your dream. You got bed nightmares with lightning. Of course, tell them where we can find us on social media and buy our shirts and all that kind of stuff.
Of course. So you can head to fmwrestling.com. You can find all our social medias on that. No, right at the bottom. There we go. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're pretty much everywhere, right? You like shirts? Yeah. We've got loads of shirts. You can head to prowrestlingtees.com/fmwrestling. You can buy yourself a Magic of Wrestling shirt. The Wrestling with the Paranormal shirt. The one with the lovely face of FM Wrestling is wearing. We've got shirts coming everywhere, right?
Yes, we do.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else then.
I said, yes, we do.
And that pretty much, yeah.
And of course, if you like old school wrestling, visit our shop, Pro Wrestling Tees // Adrian Adonis. And we have a couple shirts new on there. I don't have the new shirt, but we have the beautiful Adrian Adonis finger shirt.
Amazing shirt.
You like to see an old school wrestler give you the finger. No one better than Adrian Adonis, right?
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't forget, every shirt is obviously blessed, if I remember rightly.
That is right. Every single shirt from the Adrian Adonis from the Pro Wrestling Tees /Evan Wrestling store, we pray over every single one. So if I see a sale, it comes right to my email, and I pray over it. So you're getting the blessing and the protection from the people at Wrestling with the Paranormal.
There you go. There you go.
And I just want to say we have a lot of dark stories on this. We have some weird paranormal, and it's a lot of it's demonic. But I want you to know that darkness is just the absence of light, and God is light, and He always wins, right?
He always does, absolutely.
So with that in mind, I want you to remember. I'm just looking for the next part here. Here we go. To remember to just keep fighting.
1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Sorry, I'm just checking this. So yeah, we've got hairbrush, we've got toothbrush, we've got woo-woo plugs, we've got the AFW world title. Yeah, that's everything.
What are you reading?
That's the list that things if you've lost.
Oh, the AFW world title. How dare you, sir? Remember, keep on wrestling with the paranormal.